Welcome to the Red Mountain Railroad.
In this Red Mountain Railroad video, I'm going to talk about how I built the Kingston plant. Now, some years ago, I decided I wanted to build the Blairsville yard because I grew up in Blairsville. So I built the Blairsville yard on a section of my layout, and it was about 56 inches above the floor level. After it was all completed, I'm looking to build another section, and I don't have a lot of room. And my granddaughter says to me, "Papa, why don't you build it below the Blairsville yard?" I thought, oh, that's a good idea. So I decided to do that. The problem being, because it was below the Blairsville yard, and instead of about 36 inches above the floor level, I didn't have a lot of space to work with, about 18 inches to work with between the two levels. So that's very difficult to lean over and build a complete section with a lot of detail in that small of an area. So after thinking about it, I thought about, I can do this. I can do this outside of the layout, and then put the model on the layout and the scenery all on the layout after it's completed. So here's how I did it. Okay, first off, please excuse the quality of these photos. I'm taking them off of a laptop. Here we see the Ligonier Valley Railroad section being built below the Blairsville yard. In place, you see several cross members which will hold the Ligonier Valley Railroad section. There's more to be built at this point, but you can see the start of it. But more importantly, you can see the limited space I had to work with. After I put the cross members in, I added these little sections to the end of the cross members that would allow me to put the Loyalhanna Creek. The Loyalhanna Creek ran beside the Kingston plant. Where you see the piece of plywood, that's where the Kingston plant will eventually be located. Here's a view of the construction with yours truly standing there, so you get an idea again of the limited space I had to work with. The plant will be located right under where it says Pennsylvania on the fascia board around the Blairsville yard. In this view, you can see that I've located a seam divider that kind of splits the whole section in half. On the section that you're looking at, that's where the Kingston plant will be located. On the other side of that seam divider is where I plan to locate the limestone tipple that exists today along Route 30. You also note that I have the track in place. I've laid track, and also I'm beginning to put the creek bed down for the Loyalhanna Creek. Here I'm beginning to build the scenes that will go below the Blairsville yard that will hold the Kingston plant section. I'm making two sections that'll go together. They'll build those separately. You can see what I've done is I've put foam board, just plain foam board, which you buy at Walmart, and then pieces of foam glued to that to form a back in a left side. The next section, which will go to the right of this section, will also have the foam board attached. Here's a test fit of that first section of foam put into place to see how easy it would slide into place and how it would fit by the tracks. And as you can see, it's slid into place pretty easily, and looks good there. It fits just right. Here's a view of that first section a little further down the line. You can see I spray painted the bottom a brown color, and I started to add foliage to the back. Also built up the bottom of the section, the backdrop, with some foam and some joint compound. You can also see I'm starting to lay out the building, the Kingston plant building, in this view. Here we are, the scenes coming together. You can see I got the creek bank built, the creek bed's in place, the bridge that carries Route 217 over the creek, and at that time it was just called Route 680, but it's Route 217 now. It's all coming together. But again, the Kingston plant's not there because it's being built separately outside of the layout. In this photo, you can see the Kingston plant being built on a table, which I'm using as a workbench. The two sections are not put together. The building's in place. I had to cut out a little section for right at the front of the building where there would be a ramp for the fork truck traffic and any truck or any vehicle to go into the plant, where we brought in a big equipment into the plant. But here you can see it's coming together nicely. This is a little further down the line. I got more foliage in place. The dirt road you see around the plant is actually dirt I screened from my front yard. So this is actually actual real dirt. Anyway, it's coming together nicely at this point. In this view, I've slid the structure, the basic structure, and the scenery part into place just to see how it would look. It's not settled in yet. I plan to put the roof on the building and a few other things before it's set into place. This is more of a trial fit. In this view, the plant is finally in place, and I've merged the scenery into the surrounding scenery. I've done this with joint compound and ground cover, so there's no visible gaps. And now, except for some detail, which I'll show you in a minute, the scene is complete. This was a whole lot easier doing it this way than if I would have tried to do this underneath that small section. Doing it outside of the on a workbench outside of the layout and putting it into place works so much better for me. Here we see the finished Kingston plant model in place today. You can see all the detail I've added since I completed the building a couple years ago. First off, we got the chain link fence, which is all scratch built. Of course, the buildings are also all scratch built. You can see some of the detail, the scrap in the yard. You get the truck going down the ramp to go in the building. Here you see the guys erecting a scaffolding to put in a new smokestack. And by the way, this actually took place in 1943. I'm going to show you a quick photograph of that. I find it here. There it is. Basically, I tried to model exactly what was taking place back then. Okay, back to the plant. You can see I've done a lot of detail on the creek bank. The two drain pipes there, the one on the left is drain from the plant, basically storm drainage. The one on the right is also storm drainage. It came down along the road that went to Derry, PA, and there you can see the road going to Derry, PA. It's kind of just on the backdrop. Anyway, back to the plant in a creek. You can see the detail along the creek bed. A lot of debris, rocks, sticks, twigs, fishermen. Just the way it was back in the 40s and early 50s. The plant office right there. I worked in that office. I started at Kennemetal in 1968, moved to Kingston in 69, and I worked at Kingston for a number of years off and on. In fact, I was still working at Kingston when I retired. But initially I worked in that office. Anyway, that's the Kingston plant. And again, the purpose of this video was to show you how I built it without busting my back, because I built it outside of the layout and put it in place. And it's seamless. You can't tell where the thing went in. Anyway, thanks for watching. Well, that's the end of this Red Mountain Railroad video. Please tune in down the line for more Red Mountain videos when I get around to making them. Anyway, thanks for watching.